is an unusual thing to be spending a week talking about. It's not your usual kind of Christmas party chit-chat, but we think it's really important. So tonight we're bringing you maybe the first ever glimpse into the afterlife that you've ever had. No one really knows what happens on the other side, but the three Kiwis you're about to meet have gotten about as close as you'll get, because for a while each of them was dead.
I was in this place of extreme nothingness. There was no sound, it was silence, and yet there was not even any silence. I can't put it into words because the words just don't give it justice.
As I looked down, I remember this feeling of gravity losing its hold on me. It was just like some part of me was being sucked away, sucked up.
I felt as though I was travelling through a really long tunnel at really high speeds.
I slowly entered this column of light, and it was warm and welcoming, and there was no trepidation or fear or concern or worry.
It was the most pure, amazing joy that I've ever experienced.
It was like, I've been here before. And then quickly following that was, I've been here before thousands of times.
I saw what appeared to be a silhouette of a being. I just recall communicating with the being, I guess you could say telepathically, and just saying that I wasn't quite ready for this. And at that moment I was propelled back through the tunnel and back into my body, wondering what on earth had just happened to me. A near-death experience could be described or defined as a profound psychological occurrence that transcends typically space, time and perceptual boundaries.
Natasha and her colleagues interviewed 600 people who've seen the other side.
The most surprising thing I think I've learnt about near-death experiences is just how common they are.
It's estimated 25 million people have had a near-death experience in the past 50 years.
I was in this place of extreme love.
Kirsty Salisbury was 12 years old when she had a sudden brain illness and emergency surgery. On the operating table, she flatlined, was resuscitated and went into a coma.
I assume somewhere during that time I had this experience.
She could hear her father's voice pleading with her to squeeze his hand.
And I squeezed his hand and this tiny little twitch came out of my finger. And then there was this amazing white light. And then I noticed that all around me were these beings. They were like silhouettes, and they were welcoming me, and they were cheering and celebrating. And there was just this most beautiful feeling of, I'm home.
There was just this welcoming energy. Welcome, welcome, you're okay, you're safe, you're going to be fine, there's nothing to be worried about.
When he was 11, Josh was at his friend's place. They raced each other to the pool.
And I went full speed straight through that ranch slider, and I inflicted upon myself multiple deep lacerations. As the blood pulled away, so I moved up out of my body, and I remember getting this bird's eye view, looking down on the top of my head.
After an intense out-of-body experience, 200 stitches and a couple of blood transfusions, he was back to life.
It really rearranged my whole kind of perception of reality.
Kirsty's written a book about what happened to her and has a podcast interviewing people who've had similar experiences.
And the more I interview people, the more I research this, the more I learn about how when you have the experience, it changes you forever. I think the way that we look at life changes forever. You know, our outlook on life is very, very different. It's a lot more about why am I here and what is my purpose.
Josh has spent the past 35 years looking for answers.
It's informed my whole life, you could say, since I was 11.
That includes spending a decade in the military, 3 years as a monk, and now working as a life and mindfulness coach. So knowing what they know, are they afraid of death?
I feel to myself that I will be able to just relax and let go.
I guess there's thoughts around what is the dying process, but the actual fear of death is completely gone.
Welcome along to the project. Such a fascinating subject. Michelle Acor's with us tonight. Nice to have you here, by the way.
Right, what a day to be alive.
Yeah.
Great.
It does make you feel like that, doesn't it? And look, I think whatever you think of what Natasha and Kirsty and Josh were all saying, however you make sense of their stories, I think it's worth remembering that it's really blimmin' brave to put yourself out there and say, hey, this happened to me. I mean, oftentimes these sort of stories are met with ridicule and people not believing you. So I'm really grateful that they put their hands up and shared their experiences.
Amazing how similar they all were as well.
And really comforting, I think, you know, if somebody like me, along with thousands of other people, have sat with somebody as they've died this year, to think that it's a peaceful and serene process on the other side.